All Hail Biafra! This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please like, share, and comment.
A preacher who preached today was very, very focal, and he created this audio topic for me. He said, and I quote him, Nigeria government to pray that nothing happens to Nnamdi Kanu, or else there will be consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, the preacher, man of God, who is very, very, you know, uh, clear-headed. He wasn't drunk. He wasn't under any substance abuse. He wasn't smoking ganja or under the influence of any other thing. But he came in the midst of, over 700 parishioners, believers. He told them, Nigeria government should pray that nothing happens to Nnamdi Kanu, or else there will be bitter consequences. And so the gentleman went on, the preacher went on, to elucidate. He said, look, it really worried him. It worried him very, very, very deeply that the man came out and told the government, applied for a medical review of his system. I mean, it's not easy for such a socialite, such an international figure to come out crying, begging, appealing for his life. He said, but Nnamdi Kanu took it upon himself through his lawyers and applied, appealing to the government to please move me from the DSS, dungeon, move me away from this contraption of the DSS and take me to the General Hospital, National Hospital, Abuja. In fact, the clergyman was very, 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 very unhappy to hear that. Look, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu did not appeal to be flown aboard. He didn't say, take me to London, take me to the United Kingdom, take me to the United States, or take me to France, like most Nigerian leaders are doing. If you recall, he told us, if you recall, the last president, PMB, late PMB, was always junketing from here to London, Paris, London, Paris, London, Paris, like he was going to Sokoto. He said this man, in the 8 years that he was a president, was virtually living in France or London hospitals. Ditto equally, he said, this is what the current president, the man who says, I am the Jagaban, the man who says the Milokon, the man who says it's my turn. This is equally his retinue since he took office, since he became the head of administration of this country, in the month of May. Ladies and gentlemen, the preacher told us these last two presidents, this one, the late one, and the current one, were junketing to London, to Paris, to Germany, to the US, like they were going to their back doors. Yes. And of course, they were going, spending taxpayers' money for every so-called health challenges they had, whether it's real, whether it's imagined. But the most important thing is they were always junketing, globetrotting, and in fact, many a time, like the PMB who is late now, he was virtually ruling Nigeria from London hospitals. And the preacher said, it amazes him. He's highly flabbergasted at the fact that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu applied to be taken to a hospital at Abuja, National Hospital Abuja, for proper medical checks, for proper medical attention, for his organs to be fully, diagnosed, and where he can have a breather of air and enjoy at least a better medical care. But what has happened? Of course, the whole request, the application has been politicized. And of course, the judges are playing tambourine. They're playing all kinds of, games with Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's life. Of course, if they don't say the time is short, his application was short, if they don't say judges are on vacation, if they don't say, the vacation will soon be over, of course, the judge, like what Justice Musa Liman did. He washed his hands off and said, "Look, I'm transferring you, sending back your case to the Chief Justice. Go back to John, Tahor. Go back to him. Let him reassign the case to any other judge. The vacation is over. Judges will soon be on their seats." Ladies and gentlemen, the clergyman said it baffled him. It was really wicked because nobody jokes with health. Health is one of those things, someone's health is one of those things that you don't joke with. In fact, even prisoners are granted opportunities to take care of their health. Even people who are short, even robbers are sent for medical, attention, no matter what their cases, is or would be. But he said, because of the hatred, because of the politics, and because of the insensitivity of the Nigerian Federation against, especially Mazen Nnamdi Kanu and the Ndibo in general, Biafrans in general, they have continued to treat anything concerning Mazen Nnamdi Kanu with such levity, with such dastardly uh, 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 frustration. Of course, they want to frustrate the man. They want to kill him. They want him to die in DSS custody. They want to frustrate him. They want him to either recant. I no longer believe in Biafra. I no longer support Biafra. Please let me go. Let me go. I'm tired of this suffering. That's what they want the man to do. But the clergy clearly reasoned. He said, but they are making a mistake because Nnamdi Kanu that I know is a Jew. They never go backwards. They never go back to their vomit. Nnamdi Kanu has said, Biafra must be let loose. Enough is enough. The plight of Biafra is known to everybody. People have been suffering. People have been victimized. People have been subjugated. People have been marginalized. People have lived on subhuman, existence for a long time. People have been denied opportunities to achieve or develop themselves. People who have been prevented from assuming the highest position of the land when it comes to them to win elections, when it comes to them to take positions that are deliberately sidelined, maligned, and pushed out with reckless abandon. The clergy said, but listen, Mr. Jagaban, listen, all of you, including the DSS, listen, Dr. Justice James Omotosho, listen, Justice Musa Lima of Vacation Court, no matter what you people do, let me tell you, and I'm saying it not because, of course, I'm a man of Biafran extraction. No, not because I'm from the Southeast. I'm telling you, the whole world is watching. I'm telling you, world leaders are watching. I'm telling you, international organizations are watching. I'm telling you, OAU is watching. United Nations is watching. The European Union is watching. I tell you the truth. The 47th president of the United States, Mr. Donald Trump, is watching. If anything, if anything, and he made emphasis, said, if anything, and he repeats, if anything happens to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, I promise you there'll be consequences. I promise you there'll be dire consequences. If anything happens to Nnamdi Kanu, then he's assuring Nigerians that everybody who contributed to it will be sorry because there will be dire consequences. Because, of course, they would then know that one, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is an international citizen, a man who enjoys dual nationality, both Nigerian and both British, a man who is known as a peaceful freedom protester. Nobody should kill him. Nobody should allow him die just like that because the consequences will far outweigh any other considerations. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you have been following us, but if you have not, please pay attention. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's health has deteriorated to an abysmally low medical condition. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's liver is no longer forthcoming. It is no longer functioning, well. Mazen's pancreas is no longer doing its job. the whole thing has continued to deteriorate because, of course, back to back for the past 5 years, he has been, under excruciating, painful conditions, inhuman conditions at the DSS dungeon, such that his health have deteriorated. Every time he's eating, he's avoiding food because he's afraid of being poisoned. Because, of course, when you are kept by your enemies, when you're surrounded by your enemies, when nobody visits you, and even if anybody visits you, there are microphones put everywhere. There are video clips, CCTV cameras watching you, even when you use the gents. That means, of course, you are in trouble. That means, of course, you are living a very painful, excruciating life. Very abnormal. Yes, very abnormal. And so this gentleman, for the past 5 years, he has been in the DSS dungeon since his rendition from Kenya. And it has been a tug of war for him. What to eat. The poor man would always look here, look there, many a time avoiding his food. He is not eating. And I hope you know at one point in time he reported that he had gastric ulcer. Not just the gastric one, but an ulcer that has completely, completely torpedoed his biological systems, especially his stomach and digestive systems. This is a man who is perpetually taking drugs to aid, to relax, and to ease the pains and agonies of his ulcer. Now the case has quadrupled. It has graduated. Now it is liver and pancreas. These are two fundamental organs in the body that are not easily replaceable. These are organs that determine everything about your system. It determines whether you eat, determines whether you use, whether you go through digestive system. It determines whether you go through all the characteristics of a human being. What we call Mr. Niger. Mr. Niger. I don't know if any of you remembers what Mr. Niger is. Of course, a big M, an R, and NIGER. But of course, that is an abbreviated form of telling you what the human being's characteristics are as against non-living things. Mr. Niger, I call it. Of course, if you want to know, the M, of course, is for movement. The R in the Mr is for reproduction. Then Niger, of course, starts with the big letter N, and that is for nutrition. The I is for irritability, because every living thing, engages in irritability. Of course, they respond to stimuli. That is for the I. And the G is for growth. The E is for excretion. And the R is for respiration. Maybe the R should have come for Mr., the R before Mr., or the R that ends Niger. So Mr. Niger for short is an acronym for the characteristics of human beings. And like I said, the M is for movement. The first R for Mr. is for respiration. And then the N for Niger is for nutrition. He has to feed. The I in Niger is for irritability, response to stimuli. Of course, the G is for growth, and the E is for excretion. Excretion. The final R is for reproduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Niger is no longer working effectively in the body of NNAMDI KANU. And so this preacher, this clergyman said, listen, the Nigerian government have been playing deaf ears, playing blind, playing deaf ears to the plight of this man who has been in the DSS custody for longer than necessary. This is a man that appeal courts of this federation, Nigeria, had once several times acquitted and discharged of any charges. But of course, the government still took him to the Supreme Court. The government still appealed against high-level court rulings just to frustrate him, just to dehumanize him, just to ridicule him. But of course, now the consequences are getting very serious because for no reason at all, this man, because of a concomitant, unfavorable environment or milieu where he has been put back to back, subjected to, imprisoned, if you like, for the past 5 years, the poor guy has started suffering. His organs have started deteriorating quickly, very, very fast. Yes, because of course, the Mr. Niger in him, the characteristics of a human being have been totally abrogated. There's no opportunity for movement, no opportunity for exercises, no opportunities to exercise himself or, to move around. What we see is a confinement to a space, confined in a solitary position where he rarely gets visitors. Even when his lawyers want to meet him, they have to apply. They have to apply. They have to wait and wait and wait before they are granted a meeting with them. And when they meet him, of course, microphones are put everywhere, so that the poor man cannot even tell his lawyers what his health condition is. And so, ladies and gentlemen, the clergyman has said he is warning Nigeria authorities. Nigeria government should pray that nothing happens to Nnamdi Kanu, you know, or else there will be severe, dire consequences, both locally and internationally. It is then they will know that a madman has friends. It is then they will know that a madman has brothers. It is then they will know the formidable position Mazen Nnamdi enjoys in the southeast. Because of course the clergyman was blunt about it. He said, "Let me tell you, market women will protest. Yes, the civil servants will come out. Igbo traders will come out. Everybody that has anything to do with Igbo land will come out. We don't care how many bullets will be shot at us. We don't care how many live bullets will be shot at us. We don't care how many tear gas will be sprayed on us. We don't care if bombardment squads are all over the place. We will come out and we will fight. We will destroy. We will make sure the government realizes that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is a great personality, is a king in Igbo land."